let's go ahead and get started. So now we're going to get into a couple of things. We'll talk a little bit about some of the logistics of the book, but I really want to get into the composition of it. These are some of our clients' books that we've had done. This is Scott and Heidi Schimberg. They did a book called Couple CEO. Do you know this book?
I know of them, yes.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I think all of these here are local. They have a very successful home building company called Schimberg Homes. They've done extreme home makeover like 3 times, and they specialize in those modular homes that get built inside of a week. Because everything's pre-built off-site and they bring them in. But they've had a very successful company, and they also are really just a genuinely great couple, and they've had so many of their friends. This was an example of a book that was in them, but not necessarily the book that needed to be written, although they were using it as a test market to see about opening a business of consulting for married couples that are in their own business together, like you would be a couple CEO. And the whole design is how to make sure you have passion in the bedroom, but you still got profit in the boardroom. Then we had another client, great title, by the way, and a great design of the book. They're travel agents for the cruise ship industry, Just Add Water. We love high contrast, high color ones. This one's not as high contrast or color, but it's a good title, Build It, Grow It, Sell It. And it's specifically for how to build, grow, and sell businesses in the tradesman industry. So that's why you see a guy with a toolbox on the front. This is one of, this was a great book. This was Joran Jenkins' first book. She has now written, I don't know how many. I'm going to guess, what do you think, 8? 8 or 9, yeah. Yes.
Well, did she have one that was in the hallway that used to be on the hallway show?
Yeah.
But it's different.
6 of them in there.
Okay.
Yeah, well, but they all have that same look and feel.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, interesting one about this, we'll talk about book titles later, but she originally wanted to call this And I Never Saw My Father Again.
She wanted to call it what? Sorry.
And I Never Saw My Father Again, straight from her pitch, which is the reason why I'm so passionate about helping people. Yeah. And she split tested it, and War or Peace actually drew a better crowd for her target market. So she called it War or Peace, but she still wrote another book called And I Never Saw My Father Again. That was the book that was inside her. She did that for book number 2. We've created a monster with her. She's written like 8 or 9 books now. One of my favorite small world stories is we had a client in Australia. I'm a part of all the different groups just to kind of keep tabs and eye on and whatnot. We had this lady in Australia who was a divorce attorney, and she did her first post on her pitch. And I sent her a text message that said, you should team up with Joran Jenkins here in Tampa, Florida. She's already gone through the KPI program. She's already written her pitch. She's already written a book. She'd probably be happy to send you a copy and just you can model her whole process. And she replied back, she goes, oh my God, Joran's the reason why I'm in business. And after she wrote the book, it's such a beautiful little niche market that a law firm out of Australia bought a case of Joran's books on collaborative divorce and made all of their attorneys read it. And one of the clients, one of their attorneys was so inspired, she wanted to go down collaborative divorce route. And she didn't even know that she was a part of the KPI program. And then this was the one I was talking about called Collaboration Economy, which I'm using more for example for book titles and contrasted colors than anything, because it would have been a much better book had I actually had an avatar when I wrote a specific one. Let's get into the construction of your book itself. So there are 3 different ways that you could, well, there's an infinite number of ways. There's 3 ways we'll share with you here on how to actually design and write your book. And which one you do is solely dependent upon which type of brain dominance you experience. Are you left brain dominant or are you right brain dominant? So left brain dominant people typically become more logical and more outline driven. Right brain dominant people tend to be a little bit more creative, a little bit more colorful. Some people are equally balanced between the left and the right, and if that's the case, you can pick whichever one feels best for you. We've got a great system for both right and left brain dominant people, not dominant both, but equally on both. But a general rule of thumb is theoretically, if you're left brain dominant, write an outline. If you're right brain dominant, break out your crayons and do a mind map. And either one works, it does not matter. If you're going to do a mind map, it ends up kind of looking like this. If you look at that and that inspires you, maybe you're right brain dominant. If you look at that and it just confuses you and frustrates you, maybe you're more left brain dominant. If you look at this and that bores you and makes you want to.
I like it.
That makes
Yeah.
me happy.
I'm like, okay, let's go.
But if you like that and go, I like it, I like the order, then probably a little bit more left brain, right? So
you.
it's up to you. But thanks to Donna Stone, we've got a great process which equally balances them. So we're going to share this with you as well and have you guys try this out today. But it makes no difference to me whether you write an outline or whether you write a mind map or whether you do what we refer to as a diamond map. I think I've got that here. Oh, do we have a diamond map? Wait, yes, I knew we do. Yeah, they're there. Somebody's going to get some special notes on pitching. All right,
I could probably use those.
I'll just take one and pass them around. We will make as many of these for you guys as you want. We can email it to you. It's entirely up to you. I'll take one. I'll take
We'll
this
take
one.
one.
It's got
When
my
you're
name on it.
happy
Yeah.
one. It's really hard to read.
Yeah, I guess so.
Sorry,
There you go.
So here's how the diamond map works. So you're going to use this diamond map, one map for every chapter. One map for every chapter. Now we'll talk about how to write the chapters here in a moment. And the way it works is, so let's say this is chapter 3. Chapter 3 is all about, I don't know, should you foster or should you not foster? To foster or not.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Are there 3, 4, 5, or 6 main points about what we need to know for considering fostering? What would some of those things be? Some of those main highlights?
Understanding your own history regarding trauma, so trauma history.
Okay. What else?
Ability to accept children who are very different than you.
Be willing to. Okay.
Diversity.
Okay. What else?
Recognizing your triggers.
Your triggers. Okay.
Financial. Cost money to foster.
Okay. What else?
Support system. Willingness to learn. Open to
By the way,
learn.
there might be more. Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
The 6 is just because there's 6 branches off of the diamond, right? There's no logic behind that other than it just gives you the maximum amount here. And most people run out after a 6 or 7. If you got another one, put it there. Put it there. I don't care. But now that you got the diamond map, now I'm going to guess that inside your own history, there's probably a few points that you need to address with regard to your history. What are some of those things specifically about looking at your own history before you make the decision to foster?
So one of the things we do is we check out whether it's been resolved. They
Is it
have
resolved?
closure.
Okay. What
We're
else?
talking to therapists here, but yeah,
What else?
that it's not that their trauma is not continuing.
Not continuing. What else?
We also look at, well, in terms of continuing, how that trauma is relating to how they're raising their own children. So passing it on.
Passing it on. Okay. Going.
On trauma, I think
That's it. Okay, good. So with regard to your own history, these are the 3 main points you're going to look at. Do you think you could probably write a paragraph or maybe even 2 about each one of those points?
much more.
Much more. Yeah. But remember, this isn't a chapter. This is just a subchapter. Right? This is just one piece of a bigger chapter, right? Determining whether to foster. And I'll bet you can come up with 3, 4, 5, 6 different points here. 3, 4, 5, 6 different points. But you don't have to have a ton of them because these are all subchapters in and of itself. But if you could write a paragraph on these 3, a paragraph on these 4, a paragraph on these 5, a paragraph on these 3, a paragraph on this 2, a paragraph on these, right, that you develop a sub, you got a whole chapter. Done. And the cool thing is,
That was so easy.
really, it's that easy. And now all you have to do is close your eyes and imagine your avatar sitting in front of you, and and they just say, you know what, I'm really worried if whether or not I should foster a child or not because I think I've got some stuff that I'm still dealing with. What would you advise me? Right? Now open your eyes. You've got 3 points to go off of. Right. Let's say you're not in the mood to write that part of your book today, because maybe you're going through some stuff. Right? Maybe you just focus on the financials today. You can write your book in any order that you want. Right? When you do this kind of a diamond map or an outline or a mind map, you have all of the topics predetermined, and then you just sit down and you write with ones that you feel will be the most fun and energetic for you.
And hearing what you're saying, Topher, I'm thinking about moments of inspiration.
Yes.
Because all of us, as we go through our day, things happen that trigger our passion
Yep.
and our inspiration. So I can imagine saying, "Oh my gosh, I've got to capture this now." And so
Yeah.
I can capture it next week.
Yep.
So,
That's when you grab the phone and you just start immediately recording what your thoughts are and stuff like that. Yeah. Now the question becomes, how do you determine what the chapters are? Okay? So we're going to do a process right now to help you create the chapters for your book right now. Assuming that you know what you're going to write the book about, which you should have a relatively good idea because you know who your target market is. So now we're going to write a book for our target market that helps us build credibility to where those 45 to 60-year-old white guys that look at you as a young blonde girl and want to just write you off. This is your chance to share with them all the stuff that you know, right? So this is how it works. It's relatively simple. And it kind of goes off. I mean, you could essentially use a diamond map to write your chapters as well. I just do it slightly different. Here's the template for a book. Once again, this is the template. Right? You can deviate from this. There's no right or wrong rules here. But I'm going to guess that you could probably break up your book into 3 or 4 main things that people need to understand. So with regard to, for example, with leadership and being a CEO, you could say, well, there's 3 things you need to understand. You need to understand how do you break down processes, how do you inspire people, and how do you something else, right? There are about 3 big chunks with regard to how this works. You talk about what's the methodology you talked about, Paul? Pathfinding. How many steps are there? 5. So maybe one whole section is 5 chapters, and each chapter is 1 step. Make sense? Or maybe the whole book is 5 parts, and each part is one of those steps, and then there's 3 chapters per step. There's no right or wrong way to do this. You're just simply starting off with big, huge conceptual ideas, and you're breaking that down. We stick with 3 or 4. So if you can come up with 3 or 4 main big points with regard to growing your assets and protecting your assets and something else, right? 3, 4 main big points with regard to user experience using artificial intelligence. Whatever it is, that's where you start. So take a few moments to identify what are the 3 or 4 massive big high points. There's a couple of ways you can do it. By the way, you could write a book. So you could maybe talk about the history. You could talk about the present. You could talk about the future. That's one example. You could talk about people, process, and services, or products. I think Marcus Lemonis from the
Prophet.
The Prophet. He says, I believe in 3 things: people, process, and product. I think is what he said, right? So he could write a book, all 1/3 about people, 1/3 about process, 1/3 about product. Let's see here. You could break it down into me, customers, competitors. I mean, I don't know what your book is about, so it's kind of up to you. Ray Dalio, who just wrote one of the best books ever written on business called Principles. It's almost 3. He probably should have written 3 books, by the way, but he had part 1 was his life, which was essentially an autobiography. Part 2 was life principles, things that he'd learned throughout his life. Part 3 was business principles. How do you apply the life principles to the business principles, right? And by the way, you know who Ray Dalio is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So he didn't have to worry about his book going through compliance or anything like that because there's no financial advice in it whatsoever. It's just philosophy, it's theory, it's his ethos and how he runs a business, how he makes decisions. So these are just samples, but you should have 3 or 4 main points. So identify what the 3 or 4 main highlights would be with regard to your expertise, in regard to your services. Go and take a few moments, go and do that now, and then we'll do a share and see how you guys came along with it and get some suggestions from other people.
People, processes, and products. No, need customers.
Oh, sorry about that. Competitors. How did you not read that?
It's in wingdings.
It's ancient sacred language.
Oh man, I think I've been recording this whole lunch.
Hunter, did you call wingdings?
Everything. I'll delete it all up. Yeah. On the phone with your husband. How could you be so silly to leave that in the sink? Michelle Royal, she's from KPI11. She posted a picture the other day of her living room. And she says, I'm convinced my husband is trying to kill me. Because there's 8 different ways I could trip and kill myself based upon the shoe, belt, the shirt. It's like just walking through the place. Just
The minefield.
Yeah.
It's like
Foiled.
kids.
I looked at it and I go, my house every day. I need a trip.
She is incredibly artistic.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She's the one that gave her pitch on Facebook in her bathroom, right?
No,
Oh,
no, that was a different Michelle.
Oh.
Oh, that's Michelle Mueller.
Michelle Charles, yeah.
Just 3 big points. Or 4. If you get 5, it's getting a little high. Could be 2. I mean, kids, there's just 2 big points. That's fine, 2.
Where did your microphone go?
It's not working for some reason. I did have this one as well.
The connector was broken on that end.
Is that what it was?
Yeah,
You did
I
see
can
it?
see it. Yeah,
It was.
somehow or another it was bent. Separated one wire, and that's all it takes.
That's all it takes.
Hannah.
shouldn't take much longer than that. What are your 4 parts, Mike?
What is the CEO and the brief history?
Okay.
Today's CEO and tomorrow's ultimate CEO.
Cool. What about you? This is a little bit different for
A
you.
little bit
Bobby.
different,
Yeah.
but I'm going to address the customer's needs and their responsibilities within the contract. What we've agreed to deliver and what our responsibilities will be under that.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to have detailed instruction on how they obtain service.
Good. Nice. All right, cool. Andre.
I'm going to do kind of a people, process, and outcomes. People, I'm going to use my why and a bio, and kind of the story. Processes, break down the smarter in the long run. And then legacy, talk about the outcomes and just turn it into more of a tips and ideas and strategies on like charitable gifting strategies and feel good stuff.
Okay, cool. Harry.
So I have 3 sections. First is a history of child welfare across the nation. The second section is current practice, again across the nation, and with a lot of research information. And then the last section is what we're proposing, the rationale and the outcome of it, if we did it.
Got it. All right, cool. Locker.
I'm just saving my child so it doesn't lose itself.
Smart.
Broke it down into 3. Stands, brands, fans.
Ooh, I like that.
And now
Yeah.
I kind of think I might be onto something.
Stands,
That's right.
brands, fans. Cool.
Which is fine. I don't need to say it.
No.
That's even got book title
Yeah,
potential there.
Now another one is attract, access, activate. But I like stands, brands, fans.
I like
I do too.
I'm
That's
a
I'm
big
awesome.
sorry, I
fan of
can't tell what
singular
she's saying.
syllable words. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
What's she saying? Stands, what, and fans?
Stands, brands, and
Brands and fans. Yeah.
A history of UX, understanding history of significance.
Yeah.
The vast landscape of UX today. Future of UX, creating a meaningful experience for users through machine learning and understanding of social results.
Now, for those of you who've chosen to go like the time route, like the history and stuff, make sure that in that history it doesn't bore them because it has nothing to do with them. So be tying things back into them about how that impacts their lives today. That type of thing. Yeah. All right, great. So now you guys are already well on your way to having your book established. Now we've got 3 main three main things here. So we've got brands. Stands first. Which one is it?
Stands.
Stands, brands.
Stands.
Brands and fans.
Brands, and fans. All right, cool. So now what you're going to do is you're going to ask yourself, what are 4 main points or 4 main concepts with regard to stands?
Butts and seats.
What's that?
Butts and seats.
Okay. All right, so we got 1, butts in seats. All right, what else?
Like fan experience.
We got 2, fan experience. Okay.
I don't know. I guess maybe.
Don't second guess, just roll.
No, I don't know. I mean, it's pretty simple. Like, why would somebody come to your game? Are they going to buy a ticket to come to your game, or your event, or your concert, or whatever?
Why?
Great.
Okay, what else? One more?
Honestly, a big thing is like creating a season ticket holder, right? Someone like who's going to continue to come back more and more. Like, so creating loyalty, I guess.
Loyalty. Yeah, there we go. All right, cool. Now, we got brands, right? What are 4 main benefits or things that you would want to talk about with regard to the brand itself? So this is when you say brands, you're talking about the sponsors coming
Yep.
in now. Okay, so what are 4 main things there?
Alignment. Like, does it fit?
Yeah. Is the brand in alignment with the sport?
Correct.
Okay.
What's what I'm looking for? Expectations of them. Like, what's their expectation of their sponsor?
Yeah. Sure.
What is the activation model? And what kind of access do they get?
All right. Is there anything else? You don't have to have only 4. You can have more if you want. But anything else? The score came pretty quick.
Nah, I think that's pretty much it.
All right, cool.
It's not
Now let's go for,
complicated, man.
Now let's talk about fans. We got stands, we got brands, and let's talk about fans. Four main highlighted areas that you talk about with regard to fans.
I would say this revolves around the activation process per se. And so it's measuring engagement ROI.
Those are two things or one? Engagement ROI.
That's one thing.
Engagement ROI. Okay, one another.
Monetary ROI. Like so there's
Yeah, sure. Gotcha. Okay.
and brand ROI.
ROI.
And satisfaction.
Just mention.
They're happy. They do it again. They go back.
We call it happy.
Retention. We call it retention. Like or
Retention. All right, cool. Now, that's how you write. By the way, now you have a book that's got 12 chapters.
that's a lot of reading.
Yeah. So it's chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You got your book done. Now all you have to do is take.
Really?
Let's take.
You have the easy part.
So now, what we'll do is we'll take butts in seats, and we're going to create a chapter. This is called chapter 1. Butts in seats. Now we draw the diamond. Now with regard to just getting butts in seats, what are 4, 5, 6 different things that need to be considered with regard to getting the butts in seats? And you see how, by the way, when you turn the page over and now you're just looking at this, now you're not burdened by the complexity of your book and all the different chapters. Now you're focusing on one task at hand only, which is everything I need to know about getting butts in seats. Give me 3, 4, 5, 6 things. What do you think?
I would say price.
Price? Okay.
Loyalty to team, like so fan loyalty or allegiance. You know, I don't really break that down.
Okay.
Team allegiance, maybe I would say.
All right.
Convenience of getting to venue.
Yep.
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi is that a whole separate thing?
It's kind of like technology. What's the technology like in the arena per se?
Okay.
Hold on, I'm typing these as I'm saying them.
Yep.
Or just say venue experience. I would say when you're talking about butts in seats too, because we can kind of talk about the VIP access piece of it too, but like the differentiation, like elevated experience maybe. Or no.
Does that go under price, or is that separate? Is that a whole separate thing?
No, I'm saying like here. Like,
Another item from the time.
yeah.
Okay, so elevated experience. Okay. Anything else? You don't have to have all 6.
No, I think that's pretty much it.
Now you've actually got 6 main points of chapter 1 in an entire book that has 12 chapters. This actually goes much faster than we anticipate that it will, doesn't it? Right? We think, oh my god, the outline's going to take me weeks to design. No, actually, it's not that. Now, by the way, we're not done yet, okay? But that's the first 2 steps, right? Or maybe first 3 steps. The first step is to break it into main chunks. Second step is to come up with 3 to 4 different things about each of the main chunks, and then transfer them onto your diamond maps. So, at this point in time, and you can do this on a scrap. If you just need scrap paper, we can give it to you as well if it's easier for you. Or if you want to do it on your computer, that's fine. We'd like you to put in. You've already done your 3 main points. Now what we want you to do is write out 3, 4, or 5 main sections of each of those main points inside those big sections, which will eventually become your chapters. Take a few moments to go and do that now.
I think you need a chapter called selling passes, season passes.
Like totally do that.
She can pull it off. Yeah.
She could.
I'm expecting her book to be filled with a very conversational tone, a lot of humor,
Very entertaining.
probably some swear words. Yeah, I can totally see it. I can see her hiring a cartoonist to draw a cartoon of her.
I actually can do that myself.
There you go. Okay.
So-
I actually did already. I just haven't.
You
Not a
could
bad
read,
idea, like a bobblehead kind of character. Actually, I did look up a caricature artist. I do need that because I want it to be more of a caricature versus like just a sketch.
That'd be fun.
What's that?
I want a caricature of myself.
Yeah. Go for
Do
it.
we know anybody? I don't. I can't do that. That's on. That's.
I don't think Michelle Royal does characters, does she?
It's really. It's hard to find someone.
There's
So-
a good one in Pinellas County. He's a bit creepy, but he's a good
Oh,
artist.
check out Fiverr too. There's probably tons of people doing
His name
caricatures on Fiverr.
Really good. I'm sure a great story would evolve. Oh, you want me to come to your house?
Not like he's
Sit
not
in your
like.
studio.
It's just
Maybe
he'll
I
bore you to
imagine.
death with conversation. Like there's
Yeah,
no
he's
getting away from
awkward.
it.
I like awkward.
so if you buy any of Gary Vaynerchuk's books, they have a lot of curse words. You can pick up his vernacular.
I
So
love him.
yeah.
Actually, you know who else is really good? A good friend of mine. He's even more successful. Probably not much more than our team, but fairly. His name's Billy Jean, and he does a lot of Facebook stuff. Billy Jean is working. He's awesome, and he curses all the time. And so I was like, well, he says that word.
how many more time? Is that right? Is that almost? Cool. Okay, just say Mike and just look
I'm
at this
close
direction
enough
that
for a
works.
bump stop.
Give a little bit of a.
Incredibly inaccurate, but close enough.
Everybody's is. We'll
Yeah,
talk
it's
about
a-
that later. Yeah.
It's a stab at it.
All right, cool. Now,
Topher.
yes.
So after we complete our book, we have to write a pitch about the book. For all the national travel we're going to be doing promoting our book.
That's a media pitch. Yes.
That's media pitch.
Yeah, that's a media pitch. Yeah. So you will definitely have to do that. You'll definitely have to write a description of the book and how to write the the back cover description and the stuff that goes to Amazon. So all right, now here we go. So the one thing that I've definitely learned about writing is that generally speaking, highly concentrated, focused, short bits of time will tend to outperform 4-hour dedicated, I'll get 8 hours worth of writing done on the weekend kind of a thing. So in lieu of that, or inspiration of that, what we'll do is we're going to come back now and talk about this in a minute, but I want to now kind of just deliver some content for you so you can let your brain relax a little bit from the creative side and just get some more data. Yep. So if you decide to, whether you're doing the diamond map will kind of keep you restricted for this, but if you're going to be using a mind map, keep in mind that simplicity is a little bit better. That's a little bit too complex. You want to kind of keep it pretty clean and simple. So I recommend a mind map per chapter, not a mind map per book. It just gets a little too complex that way. So you can just have a specific chapter outline that has all the things you need in it. It works a little bit better. That being said, let's just kind of talk about some fun things of the book. All of this content we'll kind of go over a couple more times, but with regard to, there's a couple things that people love about writing the book. Probably one of their most favorite parts of writing the book is coming up with the title, because it usually requires very little writing. Here's what I will tell you. You may even already have an idea, like you talked about the book title being either the Exponential CEO or the Ultimate CEO or something like that. I am perfectly cool if you guys have kind of your own idea about what you think you should title the book. Sometimes that serves as a pretty good compass and direction for the book. The only thing I ask is that you do not get attached to the title of the book, because in some cases, not all, the book title comes out of the book. Like there's just this one profound phrase that gets said, and you go, wow, that's really cool, and then that could become the title of the book. Or there's like this one really cool story that gets in the book, and it's like the signature piece of the whole thing, and you actually create a title for that little story inside the book, and it becomes a little bit more symbolic or something like that. So that being said, the other part is just the cover design and how the book looks and stuff like that. We certainly do not expect you to design the cover, but we want to give you some guidelines with regard to what makes a good cover a good cover. So what makes a good cover, and I'm not suggesting that this is the best cover by any stretch. In fact, I've seen some of my clients' books are way better than even Collaboration Economy, like Just Add Water's a phenomenal text. In fact, here, one of the easiest ways to show really good book titles is just to compare them. So one of the things that make a book title work really well is that, number one, the title is very legible. So if you look at some of these books, some of them just play or work better than others, right? And some of them just don't really cut it, right? This is not an attack on the book. It's not saying the book isn't great. In fact, one of my favorite books last year in my top 3 is this book here, and I think it's got a terrible cover.
I read
Just
that.
can't read it.
I can't read that.
Yeah, the contrast and the color schemes just don't work. Out of these books, which one do you think is probably, there's probably 2 titles here that I see, 3, maybe 4, that are just fantastic. What do you guys think are the best ones here?
Profit first.
I didn't mean title, I meant book cover, sorry. Yeah.
Deep work,
Profit First.
Yeah. And,
Bold.
and to be fair with
Deep
Ray
work.
Dalio's, it has a wrap around it, that lower white section. I have his book, so I have a printed hard copy of it.
Yeah.
That's just a wrap. So
Yes.
his just, if you look at the book, it just says the white principles and red Ray Dalio.
Yeah, that's it. I would say probably play bigger, deep work, bold, profit first. Right. If I were to go for a second place, I'd say maybe unoffendable. Yeah. What makes these books better than some of the other books?
Simple title, concept.
Yeah,
There's a lot going
Yeah,
on in
really
some of
high
them.
contrast, right? Like it's just the words themselves jump off of the screen, and the words are big enough that you can read them, even though the book covers are quite small.
Actually, you cannot read them.
You can't not read them. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what makes a good title, right? Now, by the way, in some cases, making it hard to read plays with the eye and makes it curious, like predictably irrational. That's a very hard one to read, but there's a curiosity factor about it. What we always say with regard to designing your books is remember the size of your book is not 5 by 7. The size of your book is 1 inch by 1 1/4. Because when you think about the majority of where people buy books, typically it's going to be Amazon or online portals. So you have all these little tiny books, right? They're very small. So if you can't read, so sometimes people design the book, like this book cover here is probably great if it's just that book cover, right? Then you can kind of see it and it works. But when you shrink it down, it's very hard to read. Does that make sense? Funny fonts like this, that's really kind of hard to read. Abundance, you've got the future is better than you think, but then when you shrink it down, you can barely even see that, right? It's just very hard to see.
Principles would be good if it wasn't broken in half like that.
Oh, he was saying
It's
apparently
not. That's a cover
just a
thing.
cover.
that they
Oh,
put
that's
over
the one you
top.
were talking about?
Yeah,
Oh, I'm
the
So the
sorry.
book itself is
Sorry.
just Principles Ray Dalio.
Oh.
Although they should probably fix that on the ebook because this is the cover of the ebook. It actually has that wrap on it.
Sorry.
So with regard to your book design or your cover design, high contrast is what's ultimately going to work. And large font that goes almost edge to edge works really well. Public speaking, probably pretty good. By the way, there's a reason why I wrote that thing so big out. I mean, the title's called The Book on Public Speaking, but really, what's the 2 most important words?
Public
Public
speaking.
speaking. So the book on is just very small. I don't even care about that, right? Story selling is probably pretty good there. If you're a celebrity or a well-known name, your name should be as big as your book title, like Phil Knight, Shoot Dog, right? That's pretty cool. What's that?
90 Days to Profit.
90 Days to Profit, yeah,
It's red
pretty
as such a
cool.
power
Yeah,
color.
yeah, just you can see some of these things just pop and they work really well. 6 Rabbit Holes of Leadership, good title, maybe a good title, but a good design, probably not. Like, it's too. But sell with a story, holy hell, that's a great cover design, right? So start thinking about those kind of things when you're looking at book covers and designing them. The other way, by the way, something that works really well is to go through and find book covers that you really enjoy, that you like, and then send those to your designer so they have an idea of your style and your philosophy.
So these like some of the last books you've just read.
What's that?
These some of
Those, yeah, that's my library in Kindle. So these
I
are
don't
the
see
books.
Safe City in there.
Huh?
I don't see Safe City in there.
It's in there. Safe City? Oh, no, it's not in there yet because it's not released on ebook yet.
Oh, oh.
Yeah. We're going to wait till, what, April 6th? When's the release date? Yeah. It'll get in there, don't you worry. Don't you worry. All of your books will
This
get in
man crush is coming.
there. Yeah. I also have, I use Kindle and I use Apple, what is it, iBooks? So I got some books over there as well. But mainly I've just pretty much switched over to Kindle now that I got the Kindle Reader. Back when I was doing an iPad for reading, I actually liked iBooks more than Kindle, but I got the Kindle Reader, so just exclusively that. All right, so, yes.
Do you recommend going down that route and trying to get it published in terms of your publisher?
We'll talk about that. Yeah, that's one of the next slides, actually. Yeah, I do, depending upon what you want to use them for. So, high contrast, legible fonts, simple colors. Here's something that I recommend you avoid, which is your photo on the cover of your book. The only reason why you would want to put your photo on the cover of a book is if your face is recognized worldwide or countrywide or or in your industry, if you're already an influential person that's well known in the field, maybe that would work. But if you look, I mean, not too many books have people's covers on them. Now, granted, I don't read a lot of bios, but this one here does, right? So John Kasich, but the guy was a presidential nominee. I think he probably can get away with that. Climate of Hope, Bloomberg. Bloomberg, actually, people know, but most people couldn't pull Carl Pope out of a lineup. But they know Bloomberg, and I'm pretty sure if Bloomberg would have said, my face is on the book, Carl would have gone, what? No, I think we both got. So he probably got a pass on that one. But nobody's going to buy that book based upon this guy because they just don't know who he is. But they do know Bloomberg. It's a very recognizable face. I think I have Obama's here as well. You put it, you should have a picture of Obama if your book is about Obama. But unless you're a celebrity, generally you don't need to have it. Now, a lot of people put their face on their book covers. It is generally considered poor taste to put your picture on your first book, unless you are a Kardashian, right? Where it's a biography or an autobiography. I get that, but from a business perspective, you're actually wasting valuable square footage on your book because everything that's on the cover needs to be something that will compel them to want to open the book. Right? So I'm not making a judgment on anybody's faces. I don't put my faces on my books either. Generally speaking, you just don't want. Okay. Also, avoid pure white backgrounds. If you're going to use white, like I have on Collaboration Economy, I tinted the edges. The designer tinted the edges over here, and we had the title running edge to edge. The reason for that is because if you want your books sold in bookstores won't buy white books, generally speaking. Yeah, they just don't sell them. White-covered books that have a title. So it's not always, by the way. Like this book here is in bookstores, Sell with a Story, but that's generally not considered a good design. While it's a great title, it's a great design, that would have probably been more powerful if it would have been gray or a different color. What's this one? Is that yours?
That's mine. Template sample, but
Yeah, okay, cool. So that's,
it's on a white though.
yeah, the only thing I see is the word guide from here.
Mhm.
Right? What's the title of the book?
That one was After the Oath, a Physician's Guide to a Stress-Free Retirement.
Yeah, so,
Do you have your book done?
Well, no, not now. That's what
yeah, that's right over.
Actually, that was going to be
You're not
number one,
finishing.
but it's
You're
not
on.
number one now. So
So,
I would make
So-
After the Oath bigger.
so if I were to actually look at that, I would say that the title itself, certainly the font treatment for the title is probably not good because the subtitle is A Physician's Guide to a Stress-Free Retirement, but the word guide is the biggest thing there. The three biggest words should be, in my opinion,
After
it's
the
just
Oath.
After the Oath.
I agree with
Yeah, make a suggestion.
that. Yeah, I agree with
I'm
that.
sorry. You should have like a Bible or whatever the oath that they do with a doctor, like a picture of a guy in a doctor's coat, right?
No lab or
Lab coat with like the stethoscope like kind of faded out in the background with him like holding his hand, right? So you know that a doctor is taking an oath, and then they understand like after that oath. So you're already kind of teeing it up.
Do
And
they
then
take
it
an
should
oath with
say-
a Bible though? I think they just get them
Not a
introduce
Bible,
it
but-
to something.
When
They
the
get that
president is
snake-
sworn
The
in,
Hippocratic Oath.
what does
Maybe
he
a
put on?
picture of
Is
Hippocrates.
that a Bible? Is it the Bible? What do they put their hand on?
I don't think they do. I don't think
you could do the staff and that's
You have to talk to physicians, but I don't know that they actually do a. They may do
When
this
you're
at
in a court of
graduation
law,
grad school. They may do
You
a.
just swear in.
I
But didn't
swear,
you used to
yeah.
put your hand on something? I swear that at one point you put a hand on.
In
Back
court.
in the day, right?
Yeah.
Bible or what is it?
Yeah.
Remember that from the
Of
school?
course,
Yeah, it was
yeah.
the Bible.
I'm gonna take you. Yeah.
Then
Color-
that's what it
color-wise,
The
should
though,
be.
president,
that's
by the way,
okay.
puts his thing when he's
On a
getting in
Bible.
office. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking
Don't
about.
know that, but I don't know what
Because-
physicians do.
But it doesn't matter.
I don't know if they do.
It's
It
still a
doesn't
picture
matter.
of an oath.
It's
you know?
People
But take
assimilate an
pictures
oath,
aside.
do
Color,
something
color and
that is
contrast.
like this. I would
Absolutely,
not.
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to God, man. Like you know what I'm talking about?
No, I
Well,
like
yeah,
it.
Motherfucker.
Can't argue with it.
I'm a graphic designer.
Content and pictures aside, the color and the contrast. That's what. Because this is just it's
It
the
doesn't
first.
have much color to it.
No, green is
Okay.
actually green and blue are more medical and they're more trustworthy.
Yeah,
so like,
but I'm going off of. I'm going to use my website brand.
Yeah.
That looks like Google's.
Well, so it's our
So you're using
brand
that same
colors.
color
I'm
blue,
using our
yeah.
same color content for Strange Capital and
totally get it.
All right.
It's very dignified.
It's a great first start. Put it that way. But just makes. But by the way, that's not bad. Even though you're not white on there, the graphic goes edge to edge on 2/3 of the book, so I would not call that a white background.
Okay.
I think you're
Okay.
fine. With regard to
Yes. Okay.
oh, that was the other thing. When I first got this cover back, there was
Isn't it an X-ray?
it was just too stark and too white, so I said put some icons in the back of business people.
Oh.
First
Behind
draft,
it
first
looked like
draft
an
came
X-ray
out
to
and
me.
they had those little square symbols, you know, that look like bathroom, male, female, male, female. And I was just like, man, you guys are phoning this one in, so I kind of drafted it up. Collaboration includes sharing things, so I did the share icon behind
that's
business
nice.
people. I specifically put a woman in the middle to show that the future of collaboration is going to be at the heart of a woman, not of a man. So there's a lot of symbolism on that one. There are some things that I don't like about this. I think Kevin Harrington's name should have been far bigger. From ABC Shark Tank, that got a little bit lost in there. Who played, I don't know, I can't remember what the original subtitle was. With regard to titles of your books, we can talk about those real quickly here. Here's your rule of thumb for titles. The best titles are one word. The second best titles are 2 words. The third best title are 3 words, and then after that, there's no place for 4th. Yeah, it's just too many words. Yeah. So collaboration economy, that's okay. Book on public speaking, not that good. 5 words, right? That's why I specifically put public speaking big. That's not that great of a title. Bold is a great book title. Abundance is a great book title. 1 word, get Bible. 1 word, right? We just kind of get that thing. So
one of the ones that was up there that kind of threw me off though was just add water.
oh,
It's so catchy.
Yeah.
It's real catchy, but it's like I'd go right past it on the screen because I wouldn't know what I'm adding water to.
Well, hopefully the image shows it. But
You're gonna
Yeah,
get
but
both.
I know, Rob, they own a TV show called All Aboard TV.
Yep.
And so I think,
So there's
They-
other ways of tying in.
well, they take
everything
cruises,
they do is cruise ship.
Gotcha.
right?
Okay.
They're like cruise specialists.
Okay.
So sometimes your guide deals with cruise vacation, but once again, I can go a little bit bigger. But I do love the contrast and the starkness of it.
She said just add vodka.
That was
Next time.
Alright.
Just saying, when you're on a cruise, you know, like.
Let's go to the back of the book. So with regard to title, by the way, so let's go back here real quickly. So with your title, 1 word's best, 2 words okay, 3 words fine. Anything after that, you need to. You're probably titling your book your subtitle. So, for example, a lot of times people will, the definitive guide to selling online. Well, that's not a book title, but that might be a good subtitle for Click. The definitive guide to buying online. But Click is a far better title than right. The best titled books don't need a subtitle. So if you can find yourself a way to write your book title with 1 word, which needs no subtitle, you've got a grand slam on the title, and I've yet to been able to do that myself. Sometimes you may sacrifice. Well, no, that's not true. Yeah. So 1, 2, or 3 is what you're going to shoot for a title. Subtitles can do what they are, but don't get your subtitle too long either. Right? Eliminate unnecessary words. Just keep as clean as you can. Subtitles are a great way to really isolate who your niche market is inside of a greater thing. Right? So if the book is called Money, a guide to helping the uber wealthy. Well, now I get that, right? So I'm not going to get it if I'm struggling and trying to pay off debt. Yeah. With the back, on the back of your book, you want to put a couple things here. You want to have an enticing paragraph that compels them to want to read the book. You should have some testimonials, but when you have testimonials, make sure the testimonials are from people that have credibility in your industry. I can't tell you how many times I've had clients send me an email after we get into the book writing thing, and they go, "Hey, would you be willing to write a testimonial for my book?" I'm like, well, first off, no, just because everybody would be wondering why I did it for them and not them and that kind of stuff. I said, but I tell them, I say, I'm not an expert in your business, so I don't know why it would. That being said, I did write a testimonial for Karen Rowe, who is a ghostwriter for her book, because the majority of our clients are going to be in Tampa. They're going to be small business owners. So now I do have a little bit of a name. And I've written 4 books, so that all kind of ties in well. And I felt okay kind of breaking that rule and going, generally speaking, I'm a nobody in your industry, so it's not going to benefit me. However, for you, a child behavioral expert like, I don't know, the nanny or something like these celebrity people who are, I don't know, Cesar Millan, the dog whisperer, if you're a dog training book. But you get the idea. Steve Wozniak, if you've got a high-tech thing, or Elon Musk, if you've got... And by the way, you may think it's impossible to get testimonials from celebrities. It is not. It is a numbers game, and it's pure and simple. You may think it's impossible to get a celebrity to write the foreword for your book. It is not. It's a numbers game. It really is.
What do you mean you say numbers?
You just have to pay them.
No, just ask 10 people and one of them say yes. Yeah.
And do you pay celebrities for a forward or testimony?
You can, and certainly depending upon how their name recognition is, it might very well be worth it. But like I'm telling you, like Donna Stone, who came up with this diamond wrap, her very first book, self-published, she had Steve Ford write the forward for her book. That's insane, right?
He's really.
Yeah, let me think here. Alex Rodriguez, when he wrote his book Digital Bacon, the person who wrote the forward for his book, actually, I think I've got his book coming up here. See if I can see what it says. It's Chris Brogan. The forward is by Chris Brogan. Now, I don't know who Chris Brogan is, but apparently in the world of online and social media, Chris Brogan's a big deal. This guy's famous. $15,000, $20,000 keynotes to go out to entrepreneurship seminars. He got him to write that through a tweet. Tweeted him. Doesn't even know him personally. But he tweeted him going, hey, I'm writing a book on how to do successful product launches. The book title is called Digital Bacon or something. And Chris actually replied back and goes, intriguing. I think he even said something like, I like your pitch. I can't remember what it was. But that's how their relationship started. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. First off, if you can't write a book, write a forward to a book. Right, so a lot of people are pretty honored that they've been asked to do something.
Can I name my contract?
What's that?
Like, can I name my contract? Like, here, live by this.
Name? Oh, yeah, go for that. Testimonial. It's Rob Hessel's signature. This is a good deal.
And don't be afraid of asking high-level people. I asked somebody that was very influential in our industry. He was a fellow of the organization and just an unbelievable guy. He wrote a killer forward. So we've stayed in touch, and he's asked me to speak at a conference in DC last year. And now he's asked me, he called me out of the blue a couple days ago. He said, would you mind being part of this Lighting for Tomorrow thing that we're starting that's going to examine all kinds of new technology into the lighting industry?
Wow.
I said, well, sure, yeah. And they're going to fly me to Dallas to be part of it, pay for all my expenses and everything. So it starts in roles. You guys are going to see this. You become really popular very quickly.
On my last book, the book on public speaking, my publisher said, hey, you know who should write your forward? Joel Kahn. He's got a huge following, and I'm like, I've smack-talked him a couple of times on Facebook, but that's about it, right? I don't have a relationship with him, other than I've just made him laugh a couple of times. And my publisher said, yeah, I'll put in a good word for you. And then I called him and he goes, yeah, no problem. And that's how I got his forward. It's strong, but it's created a bond with us now.
Yeah, exactly.
To where for my political ambitions, I mean, he wanted to do a show with me. So we got along real well. And he was like, yeah, let's put this together. I can't do it.
And I sent them a gift to after completion of it, and then when the book was finally out, I sent them a copy of the book right away. It was signed, and that was a really big deal.
I just went to get your book.
What's that?
I just went to get your book on Amazon. There's only one left in stock.
Yeah, there was
and
3 the
Amazon
other day.
would just go to the printer at the publisher and order more. That's how they
I
get
thought you'd
people
want to
buy.
know they're almost sold out.
Yeah, no, but
It's a
no,
limited
that's
quantity
a
thing.
strategy that Amazon uses to make it look.
Why? Because I feel
So
like rushing
that
now.
warehouse that is close to the Tampa-based warehouse has one book in stock, but there's probably 15, 20 of them in all the different ones. And Amazon's brilliant for making people. Oh, better get it quick. I guarantee you can order that right now, and then you can pull it up, and it'll go number in stock.
Number one.
One.
It told me 3 when
Only
I
2
got
left.
this now.
Yeah. What's that?
It was only 3 when I got this
There
one.
was only 3.
That was Thursday, so.
give them reasons to open your book. So if, look at the back of that book. We can look at these, but I can't read it. Its font's too small. Let me see the back. Yeah, good. So if you see these orange dots? I've got gray ones on the back. What did the back of that thing say? Those little bullets, little quotes.
Have you ever asked this insulting, obvious questions? Page 16. How much is the right amount to charge for your speaking? Page 126. Why is your butt the most important part on a camera? 112.
Those are purposely written in a way that kind of gets people to go, I want to know a little bit, like, I want to know how much I should charge, and then turn to that page. Or they want to know why their butt is the most important thing to be on the camera, right? It's
No, I gotta read that book.
it's the
You
verbal.
know which one it is?
No, it's the
I'm
verbal
not-
one. Yeah. So the whole idea, and by the way, if you were to open up to those pages, nowhere on that page does it give you a price on what to charge.
Right.
It's not like it's a title. You have to read through it to find out where it's at.
Yeah.
That's just the subject in there. And the idea for that was, my belief was, if I could get people in a bookstore to pick up the book because of the title. By the way, here's how most people read a book. So they see the book on the bookstore, a bookshelf, and they look at it. If they like the title, what's the first thing they do?
Pick it up.
They
Flip
flip
it
it over,
over.
flip it over,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, right.
So now then there's a compelling story or an enticing paragraph, and then there's these little, and then after, if they're interested here, then what do?
Read about the other.
Then they thumb through it typically. Yeah, they might go to the author page or something like that. So I'm giving them a reason to open the book, to thumb through. My belief is that if you just read those pages in the bookstore, you're going to go, this is pretty cool stuff. I think I want to get this book. Right? So that's kind of what you want to do there. And also avoid your picture on the back of the book as well. Yes, take it off the back as well. Yeah. Here's why. Once again, this is very valuable real estate. Everything that's on the back of this book should be compelling people to want to open the book. And you also sacrifice, depending upon who publishes your book, about a fifth of the crap for all of the barcode and all that junk, right? So it's just very limited in terms of space, and unless your face is going to compel them to want to open up the book, you don't need it in there as well. I get it feels good, you just don't need it. Like, put it on the inside of the book, put an author page in there, or put it, if you're hardback, you can have it on the inside leaf, that's okay. But you just don't want to waste any of that square footage or that real estate with something that doesn't compel people to want to open it. Yep.
Do you have your photo on the side of your books?
Yeah, that's the very last page, probably. Or close to the last page. Oh, very last page, yeah. So, yeah, I got a picture. Sure, we all want to have that little ego stroke, the pictures inside the book, a little bio about us or whatever. But yeah. And some people put it in the beginning, some people put it at the end. There's not necessarily a right or wrong on that one. It's really what you do. I prefer to put it into the back. Although, if I'm not mistaken, on Collaboration Economy, they're up in the front, maybe? I can't remember.
Maybe like a colored page and like a little photo album on the inside, all the selfies.
You could,
You could.
but it's going to be expensive.
Rest of
Yeah.
it's good.
As soon as you go color,
Totally.
yeah, you're doing. I mean, I'd rather have a QR code and have them go to an Instagram page, I suppose. All right, so that's the cover, the title. Have fun with that, and be willing to change it based upon how the book evolves. All right, because it does. And also, split test it. You want to come up with 3 or 4 different titles anyway, and ask people what they think. Test it. Do a little poll on Facebook, but not until the book is written. Yep, that's very important, because you do not want to be the person who gets on Facebook today and says, "Hey guys, I'm starting to write my book today." Don't do that.
Oh gosh, no.
Yeah. My general rule of thumb is you tell nobody that you are writing a book. You tell everybody that you have written a book, right? Because everybody can brag about writing a book. It's not very impressive. And also, you don't know what's going to happen between now and the finishing of the book. You might have a personal emergency happen that sets you back for 6 months, right? You just don't know. So you don't want to put that out there. Just put it out there when it's done.
What's our time frame on this? Does it help summarize it?
Yeah, we'll go through it. 12 weeks. We want to have the book done in 12 weeks. Done. Not necessarily in your hands, but certainly ordered with the publisher or the printer within 12 weeks. That's a very aggressive goal that most people do not hit. But what we have found is that if we give you forever to get it done, you'll never get it done. So if we push you a little bit, it kind of keeps you on it. Yeah, so we're cracking the whip kind of thing. Now, to actually write the book, that's a different story. That's not even 12 weeks. To actually write the book, we have a 3-week window to write the book.
Holy jeez.
3 weeks, and that will start in a
That's
couple
what I
of
was
weeks.
thinking.
And what happens if the publisher doesn't pick it up? Or how, I mean, what is that like?
It's irrelevant. You can self-publish now. In fact, you may. We'll talk about different options.
I'll
It
stop
may
it.
make more sense to self-publish anyway. There's certainly more money in it for you. So if you're using it as a fundraiser,
I didn't even
it's-
think about that.
you-
I
Yeah.
didn't think everybody would buy it. I thought it was going to be just giving them away. I'm going to read this book.
Yeah, you can do that as well. And if you're going to be giving them away, you may not even want to. You may want to just self-print, like where you become the publisher and you go to a local printer, because then you're getting cheaper. So, for example,
I
the
love
KPI books, we print those locally because we give them away. So we don't want to go through a traditional on-demand bookstore printing philosophy technology because we pay way too much for it. It'd be cost prohibitive from the beginning.
Yeah, I could do it out of my company.
I love the fundraiser idea. though.
You
That's
have the
great.
budget to self-print here locally in Tampa
Yeah.
and print thousands of copies to get the price per unit down, and you can just pass them out. Yeah. That may be the
I'm
best
trying to
option.
change my practice. But a fundraiser, I mean, maybe I'll think about that.
Yeah.
You know,
donate X
Steve,
or
tell
more.
her what happened with your book.
For how I printed, I self-published. I went through Ingram Sparks and
No, how you promoted it though, as far as selling
how
first aid stuff.
yeah, I guess I've gone through 3 printings of my book. So the first batch we gave 100% of the profit to Stay in Step, the Spinal Cord Injury Recovery Center. So I paid for the printing of the book. We sold them whatever we got. Mr. Hessel bought 1 copy of the book for $250, which made a big smile on everybody's face. And other people did something similar,
Yeah.
but Rob set the stage on that. So we brought in Romy Camargo, who's a Green Beret shot in C3, real close friend of mine, my extended family, and he spoke and I spoke, and people were just lining up. So it was pretty
And
cool.
he was the only author in our book launch that sold out of his entire books. There's
Nice.
not one book left. He was doing it for a fundraiser. Raised a ton of money.
Yeah, you have to.
Of course, when you've got a war vet, Green Beret,
Yeah.
quadriplegic sitting there, how do you not
Right.
buy a copy of the book when he's going,
Yeah.
and all of our money is going to help him
100%
out,
of the sale,
Yeah.
not just proceeds. I went the whole sale,
The whole sale,
so it was
yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah, it worked out really
And the
well.
cool
Kids
thing
do
about
your-
him asking, I think, was it a minimum $20 donation you were asking
Yeah.
for? Yeah.
Mhm.
So it was a minimum $20 donation, and when you put the word minimum donation,
Yeah.
people are paying it for 30 or 50 or Rob Hessel $250. That's really cool.
And then about half of the second printing, the checks went directly to Stay in Step, and I mailed them out. So the cost of the book plus the cost of postage, which was $5. Worked out pretty well.
All right, let's talk about some other things beyond just the book. So the other thing is you want to ask yourself what the reader needs with regard to the book. So books have really changed their purpose lately as well. It used to be that a purpose of the book was to keep the reader reading, and that was it. So you had to make sure that the last paragraph was so compelling they wanted to read the next paragraph, and that paragraph was so compelling they wanted to read the next one. And you always had to leave them on a cliffhanger and want to keep it going, so you didn't want to put the book down and wanted to keep reading it. That's not necessarily the case of books today. Now, if you want to write a book for the purpose of selling millions of copies of those books, then the purpose of the book is to keep the reader reading still.
Right.
But for most of you, if not all of you, the purpose of your book is going to be used as a credibility builder in your industry, so you can position yourself in the right way in order to get the businesses that you're looking for in the future. Not necessarily writing a profit-first book, which you want to sell over 1 million copies for, or something like that. If you can do the best of both worlds and have both of those things happen, that's great too. I certainly think you have the potential to write a book that would be universally acceptable for anybody in the leadership field. So there's the potential of that, and if that's the case, then the purpose of the book is to keep the reader reading and avoid too many distractions inside the book. But the other purpose of the book nowadays is to actually get the book person to stop reading the book. And instead of reading the book, have them go to your website and start a relationship, or to reach out to you, or to engage with you. So you want to look at how this book happens and where it occurs, right? The book may be just one little piece in here, but you've got a website that has reports and videos and podcasts and white papers, and all those things lead them to wanting to buy the book. And then with the book, maybe they get a postcard or a bookmark or something like that. And now in the book, you have to go to more YouTube videos that are only accessible to people who actually have the book. of course, there's a book launch in there. And then the book leads on to and talk about encouraging them to take a strategy session or go to a workshop or get some coaching or some follow-up. All of those kind of things are very effective. So, for example, here's Alex Rodriguez. His book is called Digital Bacon. So when you look at Digital Bacon, as you go inside and you read the book, he's got these little links. And if you click the link, it'll take you to a website that gives you a bunch of more information and worksheets and processes that you can do. And by filling all of that out, he's not having a relationship with you one-on-one, but you're developing a relationship with him because he's guiding you through this whole process. Now, having said that, if you want to put these type of things inside your book, and I recommend you do, it's important to make sure that the information that they get outside of the book is not something that is required in order for the book to make sense. If you do that, you will get very bad reviews because people will feel like it's a sales pitch. People will feel like you're just trying to manipulate them. So, what would the let me give you an example. So, you would never want to write in the book. There are 3 things that are absolutely important with regard to becoming a great parent. And if you'd like to get those 3 things, go to my website and download this free link. That's bait and switch, right? That pisses people off, right? So what you do is in the book you say there are 3 things that are absolutely important. Boom, boom, boom. Then after you've given them, you say, now if you would like a self-assessment on how you stack up on those 3 things, here's a link which you can go to and take a free self-assessment score.
Or additional information.
Or additional information, so like bonus stuff, right? But never tells them, there's 8 things you need to know. Here's the first 4. Go online to get the other 4. Just this way.
Yeah. So subscription services do that, at least in our field. You subscribe to newsletters, and then they only give like a piece of information, and then you have to go through all this and purchase additional. So we,
It's frustrating.
it's terrible.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying. If you're going to do this, by the way, I would recommend that you remember the journey that the reader is on. And the journey that the reader is on is that they're maybe enjoying the information, but they still may not trust you. Right? So if you're going to send them to different things, don't do it in the first chapter. Right? Earn their respect. Keep the reader reading for a little while. And then even if you do give them something, here's the key. Give it to them. Don't hold a carrot and make them dance for it. So, for example, that example that I just showed you where you click on that link and you get this free worksheet, nowhere in that free worksheet did you have to give him your email address, your phone number, your name. You can be completely anonymous. You just go to the website, you click download for free, and it's done. Now, some web designers will tell you, oh my God, that's terrible. You have to track their information. Maybe in the information age it was okay, but in the collaboration age it just pisses people off when you say, here's something free. Oh wait, it's not really free. Now I want your information. Don't do that, right? At least not up front, right? Just give it away. Also, the other thing is, in your book, don't just send them to your site. Show them that, you know what, there are other resources out there. So, for example, he's got different things like how to rate your book, or how to rate your website in terms of where does it rank, and we send you over to Alexa, which is the ranking system for how your book shows up. Right? That's good. The other thing, when you do, you can, as you go through the process, you can then have another free thing, but at the end of that free thing, give them another bribe for something, but now it's appropriate to ask for an email. Does that make sense? But this is long down in the road. He's already won me over. He's given me 4 or 5 different free things. I've been conditioned to that. I get another another 6th thing, which is free. But at the very end of that free thing, it says, oh, by the way, sign up now for a free ebook called the Attraction Checklist. I'm like, yep, I want that now. That's how you get their email when you trap them. The other thing that's really cool, and by the way, there's just more stuff here. Then he's got his websites that you can visit to and stuff. The cool thing about doing it this way is that if you put strategically placed things for people to download or visit on your website, you can also then get an idea of how good your book is. Because if you get 10,000 downloads for the first thing, 8,000 downloads for the second thing, 4 downloads for the third thing, somewhere in your book, between that second gift and that third gift, you're losing your readers. Does that make sense? So it's a great way for you to kind of build that relationship. Also, it doesn't have to necessarily be something that they have to go to get. It could just be something that they go to create an opener relationship. So, how I developed my friendship with Mike McAllowicks from Profit First is in his book. He gets to this place where he wants you to draw a line in the sand, where you're no longer going to run your business the way you used to do it, right? He says in the book, he goes, and if you're really committed to doing this, send me an email to Mike at Mike McAllowicks right now and just say, I'm drawing a line in the sand. That was it. Like I wasn't getting anything for doing it. But now all of a sudden, for some reason, at 5 in the morning when I read the book, I go, I'll do it. So I send him a text message and I go, I'm drawing a line in the sand. Then like 3 days later, I hear back from him. He's like, hey, congratulations, Topher, that's really great, blah, blah, blah. And it's a relatively personal email. So I reply back. I said, well, I admit I was really just kind of doing it to see how your CRM system worked and, what your funnel is, right?
That's been all day long.
You
And then he replies
Hacking
back
yourself.
and he goes, yeah, I wish I had a CRM system. Realize I just answer all these emails personally. That's why it took me 3 days. And now I'm like, I'm not getting templated emails. I'm getting
Wow.
an actual communication with this guy.
Yeah.
Now, the weird thing is you think, wasn't that going to make a bunch of fans that just email him all the time? Here's the weird thing. I felt really weird emailing him after that. He's a celebrity. He's written a book, right? I don't want to bother him. So now I've got his personal email address, which the whole world can have. He's personally responding back to me. And now I'm like, yeah, I don't want to interrupt him. I don't want to. So I never sent him an email until 5 chapters later. And he goes, hey, you just made it through the toughest part. Take a picture of a selfie and send it to me. And I'm like, damn it.
Wow. Wow.
And I at 5 in the morning, I'm taking a picture of me with my Kindle of me reading his book, going, I did it. And sure enough, a couple of days later, he replies back and goes, well done, buddy. That's building a great relationship. Now, by the way, that book that I read, I spent $10 on Kindle with, and he ended up making a $5,000. What did we pay him? $5 grand? $5,000. Yeah. So I paid him $5 grand to come speak here in Tampa, plus $500 for the incidentals. Yeah. And I only got a net sheet because one of my clients in KPI is a registered Profit First consultant, so we got him for half price. Yeah, it's weird, huh? How those kind of relationships get built and the sales happen. Let's see, it's time for break. In addition to that, and asking yourself what else does your reader need? Think about it this way: there are 4 things that people can do. They can watch, read, listen, or do things. Right. So in your book, give them things that can allow all of those things to happen. Give them videos that they can go watch. Oh, and by the way, don't be afraid to use some cool technology. If you're a technology-based company, you want to use that. Would you mind going and getting the Best of Tampa Bay book for me, please? There's a new technology out here, local.
Is it? Do you want the Innovate one, or you want the Innovate? No.
No, I'll just do the cover of the Best of Tampa Bay because I actually don't have that app. Because apparently it's a different app. Is that right?
I'm not sure.
So there's an app in Tampa developed called VidPick, and VidPick uses augmented reality on your phone, and I'll show you how it works here. Where you can, this is way beyond QR codes. So, for example, Flocker, if you wanted to, you've got a cartoon drawing of you as a character, right? You can actually take that and you can have it entered into VidPick, and then they can put their phone, and depending upon if you wanted to do it, you can put the phone, and then literally that cartoon would start to move the phone.
Oh, that would be dope.
Yeah, you have to hire a cartoon.
I'm picturing your
the
dance
best
too.
example, yeah, that one.
I'm
They
picturing
all
your
work, but
cartoon
this is
like
one- this is
characters
one-
split in
yeah.
half with like
So-
rollers,
so for example-
robe, and coffee, and then the other side with a cake. Like a
So if you
superhero.
hold this book up, this book doesn't do anything.
Football.
Are you guys ready? Watch this. So this is VidPick. So I take the app, and it uses augmented reality, and it scans the cover. Oh wait, here, hang on a second. Turn the volume up. Oh, here we go. So it's constantly scanning. It's looking for a pre-approved book. So I scan this.
Oh, that's cool.
And now all those pictures are moving in here. I don't know if you can see it.
Wow.
Yeah.
See? So you could have, you can have on the cover of your book, download this free app. for augmented reality experience. And then, literally, if you're talking about something in the book, for example, like a parenting technique, you could literally just have them hold the phone over the book, and now that parenting technique video pops up, and they can actually watch it happening. It's pretty cool.
Good stuff. I like
Yeah.
that.
So have fun with that, right? So that's something they can. That I would describe that as something I get to do because I'm using my hands and holding it, but it also would take off on the watching process as well. I think so.
Say that again.
It's called VidPic AR. There is another company. Is that right, Steve? Though, do you know? Because they've got VidPic AR, and then I thought there was a second one that they're using for Innovate.
Yeah, he may be. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Did you try the Innovate book and see what happened?
I did. I couldn't get it to work.
Good. He must have changed it. Yeah, I don't know who he changed it to.
Gotcha. So there's a couple of them out there.
I can text him and find out.
Yeah, sure, if you want to. I would create a YouTube video for every single chapter. Because then in that YouTube video that's on YouTube and everywhere else in the world, you can say, by the way, hey, if you enjoyed this information, I've actually written an entire chapter about this topic in my book, Exponential CEO. Here's the link to Amazon below. And now you can get people that are watching YouTube to actually go buy the book. And then you can also have in the book say, by the way, if you'd like a summary of this chapter, you can go to YouTube and there's a quick summary that you can spread the word. And then, because people love to share things nowadays. We're in the collaboration economy. They get a kick out of that. So I know that if I find something I really like in a book, I can highlight it and tweet it, but I could also just send somebody a link to a video to watch it too. That's kind of cool. Have fun with that kind of stuff. All right, it's 2:30. We should probably take a quick break. When we come back, what we're going to do is getting back into a little bit more writing. We're going to finish those outlines for you. So 15-minute break starts now.